Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of an Echoes Ramble. As you've no doubt figured out by the title, today we're going to be talking about the incredibly hot topic at the moment regarding PLEX, and the complete lack of availability regarding PLEX at the moment in game. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? What started this entire situation whereby we found ourselves completely without any PLEX for sale on the market? So it all starts off with the Science C carrier. As we're well aware, the Science C carrier is in heavy demand because of the fact that it can enter high-sec, which is incredibly popular with high-sec ratters for obvious reason. Now, we were presented with a way of getting the carrier for an incredibly cheap price compared to its build price in-game. Its build price is allegedly over 100 billion ISK, whereas you could purchase it with PLEX for between 30 and 40 billion. So for those players that wished to fly this particular ship, it made no sense. It made absolute perfect sense, sorry, I was going to use the wrong word there, to just buy it using the in-game currency. So yeah, what happened was we got given these boxes and we were told, as you can see up on screen at the moment, that you can open these boxes with these keys. These keys you can buy an infinite amount of for 100 PLEX. So there we have it, 100 PLEX per key. In the next screenshot, here we go, we are told that we are guaranteed a carrier if we open the box with the key up to 60 times. So, okay, that means 6,000 keys in total because it's 1,000 PLEX per key and we're after 60 keys. So everybody who's got 30 or 40 billion ISK in their wallets, which is a fair few more people than I would have expected, went and emptied their wallets and bought out all of the PLEX. So there's now no more PLEX on the market. And of course, the Science C is continuing to be popular, so people are still competing to get more and more PLEX into their wallets to open up these containers and get that Science C before the event ends. But as we well know, this 6,000 PLEX per player, demand or consumption, whatever word we want to use, completely emptied out the market, as we can see. And this has been quite a common sight for the best part of a week now. There's just no PLEX on the market to buy. Now, of course, the keen-eyed among you will just say, well, why don't you go and place a buy order? There's none on the market, but people are going to go and sell PLEX because, there's always somebody wanting to buy PLEX for some quick ISK. Always happens regardless of the event. And that is true. The only problem is, as you can see on this screenshot right now, not only do you have to place the buy order at the PLEX's maximum tradable amount for the week in order to actually have your transaction ever completed, because, that's just how the market works. There is a limit on how many buy orders there can be in-game for any particular item. Of course, we don't know what that limit is at this point in time, but as you can see on the screenshot at the moment, at an earlier point in the day when I tried to place a buy order, I got the message, too many orders for this item, please try again later. Now, for about 5 minutes straight, I had to constantly tap the order button, and the message on screen would toggle between the message I just read out to you and cannot place multiple orders in the same second, please wait a second. Basically the anti-spam message. 5 minutes of constantly tapping that button just to join what is essentially a queue for the week. There is no guarantees, of course, that PLEX that I placed a buy order for earlier today will actually have its transaction completed before the next week. And this queue system that requires us to essentially spam the button to make sure we get into the queue before somebody else presents another obstacle. What if you're a free-to-play player, let's say? You're a free-to-play player, and typically when you get that 1 week remaining notification, you tend to go on the market, buy 170 PLEX. That's all you go for. You're not splurging on the Duo Omega. You just want to make ends meet. You're going with basic. So 170 PLEX, usually really easy. Go on the market, buy it. Here, you've got to queue up. You've got to, first you've got to spam the button to get into the queue. And then you've got to wait and hope that in the next 7 days, before the price goes up with the next weekly maintenance, and before your Omega that you currently have expires, that your order will be fulfilled and you'll get that PLEX. If not, tough luck. You run out of Omega, you lose the ability to contract yourself for more risk, and you have to hope that prices come back down to a reasonable level at the end of the event. So free-to-play players are likely feeling the pain right now. Me personally, my main account that I do most of my gameplay on is on Duo Omega that I pay for personally, so that's not a big deal. My alts, on the other hand, I support with me in-game income because they have more of a supporting role, like planetary production for the Corp or various industry roles. Nothing too big and important, nothing to justify Duo Omega or actually spending real money on them. So it doesn't hurt me too hard. I can let them go alpha, give it a couple of weeks, and then spark them back up again. But yeah, that's the thing. Free-to-play players, if their buy orders aren't fulfilled, they're just going to have to wait until the end of the event. There is no way around this, really, unless NetEase come up with a solution. And at the time of me recording this video, and this is, let's try and do some quick maths here, about 16 hours before I expect it to go live. At this point in time, NetEase haven't released any form of a solution or handrails, anything to help out those free-to-play players, which are a crucial part of the community, let's be honest. So how could this better have been handled? Let's say we're somebody influential at NetEase that's watching this video, and they're thinking, how could this better have been handled? Because you don't want the core player base getting upset and potentially leaving the game that you're trying to market and sell. So, first up, historically with events like this, whenever we've been able to buy a hot item with in-game currency that you can get like PLEX, there's been a limit on it. For example, the limit would be that you can only buy 10 or 20 keys per character, and that would be your hard limit. If you wanted any more keys, you'd have to go and buy those keys with Aurum. That's a trend that we've experienced historically, and bring back that trend, it'd reduce the demand on PLEX quite drastically. If you had it limited to 10 key purchases per character, you'd be reducing the demand by at least 6 times. That's quite significant, let's say. Another solution, short of saying don't have the event altogether, would be not to release the science ship there. I was going to say the science ship then. Don't release the Science Sea carrier inside of the boxes. Historically, boxes that have had hot items in them have tended to be carrier nanocores, for example. These hot items inside of the boxes have always been nanocores. So people would rush to them if they already had the ship. The demand wouldn't be anywhere near as high. if it was just the Cyan-C nanocores. You'd have, say, 10% of the number of players chasing after those boxes to get those nanocores, and those players would be the ones that know that they'll be able to afford to pay the indie guys to build them that carrier in the coming weeks. So this would just be them setting themselves up ahead of time. That would have been much preferred, and it would have had the secondary effect of giving industrialists even more things to build. But that said, the ship itself probably wouldn't have even been built in that case, because it's only appealing at the moment due to its more generous cost if you can get your hands on the PLEX to start with. But yeah, that's a good summary, rundown, rant, ramble, whatever word you want to go with regarding PLEX at the moment. If you want to share your stories about how the PLEX market fiasco is affecting you at the moment, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And as usual, feel free to hit subscribe. Makes it that little bit easier to find these videos in the future, because I know you guys are coming back to them. Might as well hit subscribe. I know it feels like I'm begging now, but for those of you that stuck around, at least you'll get a laugh out of it. Anyway, thanks again for watching. It's more of a listen, isn't it? Yeah, I'm rambling again. I'll cut it there. Thanks again, and see ya.